Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeremy Williams, and I chose to look at the Saratoga National Historical Park, partly because I'm focusing my research project on the Battle of Saratoga. So I thought I'd look at the Saratoga National Historical Park and its significance to historiography. So first, we're going to look at the battlefield itself, a little background information on the Battle of Saratoga. The national park is located on the site where American troops they gained an important victory by forcing an entire British army to surrender. Now, that British army was led by General John Burgoyne. He was tasked with marching from Canada to Albany, New York, where the plan was they would cut off the New England colonies from the rest of the colonies, basically forcing the Americans to surrender to the British. Now, this didn't go as planned. There were a lot of reasons as to why it did not go as planned. But the battle is significant in that it's often called the turning point of the Revolutionary War. In the aftermath of the battle, the French will recognize the independence of the American colonies and they'll pledge their much needed support to the American cause. That support came in terms of finances and in military support. So, looking at the battlefield itself, it's located we're at the site of the Battle of Saratoga in New York. It's a beautiful, preserved park. It's very easy to navigate. There are signs everywhere. There are self-guided tours, and looking at the website, you could even do a virtual tour of the battlefield and all that the battlefield of Saratoga has to offer. So here is just the sign, the entrance to the park. And then the middle picture is just a pretty cool view of a cannon overlooking one of the fields. And then to the right, here General Burgoyne surrendered his sword to General Gates on October 17th, 1777, again marking the turning point of the Revolutionary War for the Americans. Another feature of the national park is the Schuyler House. Philip Schuyler was the leader of the Northern Department of the Continental Army. And prior to the Battle of Saratoga, he was dismissed, and General Horatio Gates would eventually lead the army at Saratoga. The house is interesting because it was destroyed by the British when they were retreating on October 10th. But it's significant in that throughout his life, and even since his life, the house was the destination of many visitors, some of which were very famous, like George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and the Marquis de Lafayette. Um, Now, following their footsteps, tens of thousands of people from all over the world continue to learn about General Schuyler, who was a visionary man, and they can look at a colonial house because again it was rebuilt and it has been restored to what it would have looked like back in 1777. Continuing on the battlefield tour, the Saratoga Monument was erected in 1883. It commemorated General Burgoyne's surrender to Horatio Gates. It's a 155-foot stone obelisk, and it stands where Burgoyne's camp was entrenched during the campaign's final days. Right? It's a pretty cool feature. When it is open, you can climb the stairs to the top, and you can get a 360-degree view of the Hudson River Valley. You'll see all the surrounding areas of the battlefield. John Henry Brandow in 1901 said this of the monument. He said, Saratoga Monument, like Bunker Hill, Bennington, Oriskany, and Washington monuments, are founded on and reared by sentiment. The sentiment that wrought this miracle in stone and bronze was pride in the deeds of our fathers and reverence for their characters. Okay. And the last part of the tour, or well, you could take it in any approach that you want, but the last feature is the Victory Woods. It's a 22-acre area where the final encampment for the British Army under Burgoyne was prior to their surrender to American forces. The trail itself is a self-guided trail. It has interpretive signs along the trail to point out certain parts of the Victory Woods. What's interesting about that is archaeologists went back and they tried to excavate the ground. They tried to look for Revolutionary War artifacts. Uh, the thinking was that the British Army was there for about a week. The ground should have been a treasure trove of artifacts. Well, in 2005, when they were working, they didn't find anything left behind from the 2,500 British and Loyalist Americans who were stationed there. Part of that is due to illegal relic hunting. And unfortunately, that's robbed all of us of vital information that would have contributed to American heritage. Um, Overall, the Saratoga National Historical Park is a really interesting historical park. It's been preserved many times throughout its history, throughout its existence. And it's just a sign of the fortitude of the American soldiers who fought at Saratoga. Without the victory, it's unlikely that the French would have joined the American cause any sooner, and it's unlikely that the Americans would have won the war for independence against the British. Thank you.